Welcome to Cackling in the Void.
I'm Kaylee.
I'm Ashley.
And let's see if the void echoes back today.
We're two best friends good God. We're two best friends diving deeper into the void, talking about Iron Flame chapters 43 and 44. Yes, correct. Those chapters.
Correct. Yes, correct. Good job. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which I remember reading these for the first time, and these were one of the sets of chapters I was really excited to come back to.
I'm so
during
excited.
Our reread. It was just so fun.
I think it was just so fun to see a different dynamic because we saw the writer's dynamic so much throughout the book, where it's just writers interacting with writers, and we only see, Griffin flyers every so often, and they're always the enemy, so we don't get to see them up close, kind of. And the only time we saw them up close
during trades and stuff, and
yes,
even then it was
exactly.
for 5 minutes.
And so there wasn't a lot of interaction, so I'm very excited to dive deeper into these chapters because of it. Also, these were some of the chapters where I felt like the most action happened in a while. Yes, there's been a lot of action through the entire book. I'm not going to lie about it because, the whole first part of the book happened.
Really? I thought we just brushed right over that.
Yeah, no, this is the first time that we've ever started the podcast. Welcome, guys. Thank you guys so much for your first listen. We're only diving into these chapters, and that's it.
That's it. This is the first and only episode of this podcast, obviously. You can't go find 35 more.
Absolutely not. No.
Obviously.
Never.
This is just, we're only talking about these two chapters and we're signing off forever.
Exactly.
Well, because we're only talking about these two chapters, jumping right in, they are walking up I can't talk today. The cliffs of Draylor, going and walking back to Tyrrendor. And the reason they're doing this is because they want the Griffin riders to, in quotes, walk a parapet. Because riders won't trust a Griffin. Riders won't trust anybody unless they've crossed a parapet.
Yes, but also they have to walk it because Griffins cannot fly over the mountains because of the altitude.
Yeah.
So that is also something to consider. Another reason that they're actually doing it as well. There is a practical reason, not a war-driven psycho school analogy. You know what I mean? But
the riders, not the riders, the dragon riders. Now there's two riders we have to distinguish. But the
what we can call the Griffins flyers.
Thank you. Okay, so the riders are walking with the flyers as well. They're not just flying and going bye. They're all walking together to establish a trust. And you can tell everybody's this is a little weird. We were all enemies last week. Now we're not, apparently.
Yeah. Odd. It is quite odd, but also at the same time, I think Brennan and Sierra, Kat's older sister, all does have good points because, they are, number one, there to build trust, and then number two, they are also there to learn how to kill venom. Sorry, yeah. I'm very slow today.
We're both it's okay. Haley is up again at 5:30 in the morning. Well, she's up at 4:30, but it's now 5:30. And please, everybody, give her a round of applause because she does great. She does this for the podcast because she loves you guys, me, and the podcast.
Love you guys. I'm sorry that sometimes I just get extra tired.
How dare you be human and have tired feelings?
I'm so sorry. But anyway, back to the podcast.
But they also did... They were fighting for the Luminary, and that's why they went to Dreyfus. and
Yes. So
and they
they
did
did
drop that
get the
off 3 days
luminary.
ago. Which
Yes.
did they drop it off then come back? I'm guessing.
I think so, because if we've noticed, basically in the chapter before, it was just Violet and Xaden, and then Mira and Brennan were the only writers that were in Poor Meal.
Yeah.
They were the only ones doing it, and now fast forward here, we have everybody. We have all of the wings together. We're in formation. So there was clearly a couple of days where all of the cadets excuse me, all of the cadets from Tirandor flew to Poor Meal to do the crossing.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I'm guessing like it was kind of like like we said before, you all have to do it. Like you're not going to be a team and you're not going to work together if you're not all going to go through this together. And so
Exactly. But also I think that it is a really good way to like force everybody to say we are on the same side, we will survive, and we have to do it together, because we don't even have like the dragons are flying close by, but like they're not super close. If that, I don't know if that makes any sense.
Standing guard in case like something comes, but they are not like, oh, if I fall off this cliff, you can come catch me. Close.
I mean,
like
Terran
you probably
is.
could. Absolutely, yes. Of course, Terran is. But like it wouldn't be a quick like, oh, you're right there, you're falling, I'll just like push you back up. Like they would fall for a bit before they get caught. I do think that it was a very good idea for them to all walk together, but it's very, very, very tense.
Absolutely, because as everybody has pointed out, they hated each other. They all thought that
Literally
they were the enemy. Last week, 3 days ago, they were enemies, and now they're not. So it's a very fresh thing. But I agree that it's better to do it now than do it in a classroom, because I feel like things would get out of hand if they were just like thrown in a room together. You know?
I feel like that'd be like, get all of your like cobwebs and like all your shits and giggles out before you're stuck in a classroom. And they do say that they're like, you're not going to be able to learn together if you're not going to do this. Like, it's a very valid point.
Exactly. And I just think that it also helps build trust, because while they're on the path up, they're going to be disabling all of the griffin traps that were already set up before they did this trip.
Yeah.
See? There was a reason why the...
Yep. You got there. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, I was like, the brain is definitely braining today. I apologize.
And there's a quote that Kaylee really did like. I have to find it again. I did find it.
It's a long one, so everybody buckle up, because, you know, of course.
Oh, yeah, buckle up, because I can't read. And so... so Serena goes up and joins Brent, like, because Brennan's kind of talking to everybody on this like pile of something, and mound of crossbolts, and the and so she kind of goes up and she kind of starts talking, and she says, and if we were just risking ourselves, perhaps it would be more appropriate to deem you inferior to your death, Bridges Bezgaius. But consider while you climb, while you decide if you'll truly accept flyers in your ranks. While this trail is perfectly safe for humans, it is perilous for griffins. And ask yourself, would you risk the lives of your dragons climbing a trail specifically built to kill them in hostile territory, so you can learn how to better destroy your enemy with the very people you considered your enemy up until last week? Wow, I read that beautifully.
You really did. Also, I just feel like that quote in and of itself has so much weight, because that literally is the setup for the end of this book.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking about that.
Yeah. And it, like you said, like it very much sets up the second half of the book.
Yes.
Because we all know
And
that Rebecca Yarros is great at foreshadowing.
yes, but then also, just going
It's a good
forward,
quote.
it just sets it up because I do think that that is correct. Yes, risking your life is much different, but would you risk the life of your dragon? And I think most people would say no.
Yeah. And it even does say, like, riders all around Violet were shifting around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were uncomfortable and, like, ooh. Like, that. Oh,
Yeah, because that's what they're doing, they really are being like, "Hey, our griffins will die. And if they die, we die."
yeah.
You know? It's
Yeah.
very similar in certain ways with dragons. So,
Mm-hmm. And, she's talking with Taryn because she's like, I wouldn't risk you. Like, obviously. And Taryn's
mhm.
like, well, of course you wouldn't, but you didn't bond inferiority like a griffin.
Yeah, the inferior race.
Yeah. And she does find out, like, Andarna can almost fully extend her wing,
Mhm.
which is very
Which
exciting
I
because
was like, that's so exciting.
it's so exciting. We just want Andarna to be okay.
We just want to see our little girl fly. Ha
Yeah.
ha 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 ha.
It's the way you said it. Um, and so they're kind of starting to walk on this parapet thing, and like on the cliffs of Draylor. And Violet's with like cats.
Drift.
Thank you.
Sorry, yes. Mhm. Violet is walking with Cat's Drift, and honestly, there's a lot of tension between them because Cat is still very upset with Violet for being with Zayden. Obviously, they just had like the really most awkward, I would say, some of the most awkward 2 days ever. Before that, they got 3 days off, maybe, possibly. I don't really know if Violet actually went back or if she just stayed there.
Yeah.
You know? Um, but Kat is obviously very hostile towards Violet, but Violet is now talking to Marin, who is Kat's best friend, and they're trying to get to know each other, and they're just talking about kind of how and why griffins can't fly above certain altitudes.
Yeah.
So they they are kind of talking about why the wings on griffins are built differently, and we find out that it kind of changes depending on where they're hatched. So for instance, Marin's griffin is a summer is a like a low wind drift, which means like she was born in like the plains area, where the summer wing drifts are born like higher up in the mountains, and so they can scale the higher mountains of Pormeal. But in Aracia and Tyrandor's area, as well as where Beth Gaiath is, has taller mountains than they do in Pormeal. And so obviously, because griffins don't visit there often, they don't get the chance to fly at really high altitudes, so they don't get to practice that. So it was really interesting to see how much all of the griffins were really struggling with altitude sickness, because that
and
was
also it is. Go ahead.
I was like, because that's one of the biggest battles right now that they're facing, as they walk up as they walk through the trail.
Yeah. And I do think it is interesting that their wings are different, like depending on where they're born, where it's really interesting. And it reminds me of how like dragons get to choose their tail in a way. And like obviously it's
Mm,
a little different because dragons choose the tail, and like the tail is kind of
hmm.
chosen like based on them, not where necessarily where they're born. But it is very interesting that they also have something that like is the same, like where it's like not every dragon is the same because they have
Mm.
different
It's
colors and
very
everything. And so
unique
it's
to
like
them.
yeah, and so it's like it's cool to see like how griffins have the same thing, but it's like their wings and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
It's
I
also
think it is very
interesting to see that the griffins are just born like ready to go, if that makes sense. Like, if
yeah,
that makes sense, where
like they have the whole
dragons,
like
well,
have feathered
dragons get,
tails and
yeah, I was like, dragons get hatched and then they, they experience like life and living and other things. And then they go into their dreamless sleep and then they go through their transformation. So it's interesting that griffins don't do that. Griffins are just hatched,
yeah,
according to like the knowledge that we know right now, that they're just hatched and then they don't go through the dreamless sleep,
yeah,
which is
which
interesting that they don't do that.
yeah. I agree. And it might help if I scroll down in
Also,
my notes.
as they were talking about this, Violet is, now kind of shifting the subject a little bit more to like, how do you feel about walking with writers, Mirren?
Hmm.
And kind of getting more, obviously more personal. And Mirren just breaks it down very simply. Basically, kind of like Serena says, she very much echoes that sentiment of this is our best chance of survival, and this is our best chance for our people to survive as well. And
Yeah,
if this is what they need to do, this is what they're going to do, which I think is obviously shows a lot about their character, because I feel like Violet also echoes that sentiment.
I agree with that, and I think it's also. I'm not saying it as like individual people, but as a whole, I don't think writers would have done it if they were the ones having to leave it behind. You know what I mean? Like I feel like writers are a bit more
Prideful.
prideful. And I think Griffin writers are flyers are too, but there's just a difference in the pride because also dragons are so prideful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think even like the dragons would have an issue with it. And so I think the fact that the flyers are coming to Tyrandor is the reason why this is happening. If they all had to go to a different place, like all the riders had to go, I don't to go be with Griffin riders and like in their land. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it would have been as civil as this is. Kaylee's
I
thinking.
don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe if it was like a different group of writers, then maybe it would be more difficult. But I do have a feeling that this group of writers would do it still.
Yeah, I feel
It
like
would be
because they
like
did
weird,
leave
and
those
I
guys.
do feel like there would be an entire like chapter. Me, I feel like there'd be like a entire chapter of them in formation of just everybody yelling at each other, though. Like there would
Yeah,
have been a lot. Like I kind of do agree. Like there would have been maybe like a day or two that they were just all arguing about it.
yeah, and like I think Fourth Wing would have gone without. They'd be like, oh sure. Like I'm not saying like
Yeah.
everybody is like that, but I think as a collective whole,
Hmm.
dragon riders are a lot more prideful than flyers from what we have seen.
Absolutely. Yes. Um, I would agree with that.
And
As
so oh, you could
no,
do this
you can.
part. No, you
Oh,
do,
okay.
you do it because I like what you wrote.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
uh
Okay.
oh, okay. Um
What a loser.
now I'm like, "Oh my goodness, somebody liked something I did." Okay. Sorry.
Kate is going a little crazy, and that's okay. We're
Yeah,
here
we're
to support
here.
her,
We're here, and we're all good, and it's fantastic. We're
and
having
we're
a good
gonna
time.
good
Okay,
time, and
guys.
we're gonna read this
Ooh,
beautiful thing that Katie wrote.
yes. Violet and Mirren are talking, and I'm so sorry. I lost my place in my notes. Mirren does say that Violet does have a very large ransom on her head as General Sorrengail's daughter, and they're just kind of talking about the dynamics of the way that the Flyers have looked at a lot of different dragon riders and a lot of people very high up in the rankings of
Yep.
writers. Did that make sense?
Yep.
Great, thank you. As well as they were kind of talking a little bit more personally about what it was like for her to see Kat's and Zayden's breakup, basically. He kind of
Yep.
like divulged into that, and Marin was very much one of those people who was like, it was really hard to watch Kat go through that breakup because Kat was really, really into this relationship. But also at the same time, she says that when Zayden came back for the first time after breaking up with Kat, they find out that Zayden is now with Violet. And obviously Kat was extremely disappointed, but Violet asks Marin, were you disappointed that he was taken, that like I was part of the picture now when he came back, and that he wasn't, single or something?
Yeah.
And Marin said, I was disappointed for Kat, but I was not disappointed in the whole situation because I would not be rooting for that toxicity for any more than your best friend would be for you.
Oh.
And I
we
really
need to pause on that.
like,
Immediately, we need to pause on that.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved that quote because even like she can even recognize that Kat and Zayden were really toxic for each other, and that Zayden is just kind of a toxic person.
Yep, and I do like how, I know we've said it, but it's like the word toxic and like toxicity is like such a common occurrence when talking about like Zayden and like his relationships. Like it's a very common thing. And I'm glad that people are like saying it to Violet.
Yeah, and people are saying it quite often to her. But her. I love how she's just about Ree. Yeah, I love how like she is through and through just a best friend.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's also very true because Ree, even though Ree has never said it, there are certain things that you, as a best friend, I'm sure that you're like, we love this for you and we are rooting for you to be happy, but deep down inside like it's not like really a great situation. You're like, they got to make their own decisions and it's okay, but we're still like gonna like, we're still supportive, and we're gonna say that like we support you through anything, your right and your wrongs, even if we really do think that it's wrong or they're the wrong person or the situation is just like not ideal. And so it's just like one of those things where it's like I understand that feeling when she's like, I wouldn't be rooting for it any more than your best friend would be rooting for it for you. Yeah. Which kind of just goes into like that parallel of Ree probably isn't rooting for this type of relationship for her right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also we have seen in the past where she's like, when Violet was sad, her immediate thought was, "What did Zayden do? Do you need me to go bury him? Because I'll go bury him right now." And so, like, I feel like that's also a sign too of like, oh, like, did something happen? Like, what's going on? Like, did you get a letter from me? Or
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean? Like, her first conclusion was that.
Yes, it's always, what did Zayden do?
Mm-hmm.
But it's really interesting because Violet just like mentions it where she's talking about Ree and their friendship, and then she kind of says, why is Kat so jaded? Like, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like, Kat just like really fucking hates me. Which,
Yeah.
valid, kind of. Like, everybody's valid to their own feelings. But also, Kat hates her in a very different way. And
Yes.
still does.
Thank you.
Sloane kind of mentions, like, pops into the conversation and says, Liam didn't hate many people, but Kat was definitely on that list.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Because, like, Violet even acknowledges it and was like, oh, actually, yeah, Liam would have known Kat pretty well because, Liam and Zayden grew up together. So if they grew up together, they were probably interacting with Kat throughout their life. And
Mm-hmm.
because, if we think about it, the deal of them getting married was made when they were kids. Like,
Absolutely.
prior to Tyrandor's fall, like prior to Zayden's father's rebellion.
Yep.
Let's put it that way. Prior to Zayden's like rebellion, Zayden's father's rebellion. the
You're getting there. You're doing great.
I know. We're here. We're doing it. So prior to that, and so therefore there should have been a lot of interaction between them. So it's interesting when Sloane it's interesting when Sloane said that, I'm sorry guys, me just
It's
falling
okay.
apart at the seams. We're doing great though.
You're doing great.
Um uh and Violet says is and Violet says, well, it's okay. It's another person that you can hate as well. And Sloane's like, I don't hate you. She like says it under her breath. And Violet is like, oh. And
Yeah.
Sloane responds like, it's really hard to hate you and Liam didn't, because she's in the October letters now, which is so nice to hear that like Sloane is really reading the letters.
Yep. And also that means she's really training with Imogen and stuff too.
Yeah.
Because she
So
wouldn't be getting the letters if she wasn't training.
wasn't training.
And
Yeah. Which
I
I
like that.
also love to hear.
Yep. And I'll say, ooh! I'm so sorry. I'll say my thoughts after we finish this little section, but that scared me so bad. I apologize. Um, and they're kind of talking, and they're like, well, we both knew, or Sloane does say, like, we both knew my brother well enough, and like, no one forced him to do it. Like, no one forced him to be with you like that. And she's like, I just wish Zayden chose a different person. And Violet's like,
Yeah.
yeah, me too. And, after hearing that and, like, really thinking about it, I am really sad that Liam passed. Because, like, obviously we had Liam and his friendship and stuff like that. But then, like, so much could have been unlocked now that she knew about the rebellion and things in their friendship. And, like, they could have
Mm-hmm.
had, some more fun things. Like, I think it would have been fun. But I'm not saying I wanted her to not kill him off. Because please, kill your characters.
Absolutely. But also, would her and Liam be friends if he wasn't, quote unquote, assigned to her? Would they be friends? Because I don't think that they would be. I'm gonna be
It's true.
honest. Like, I don't think, like, they wouldn't have had a reason to hang around each other.
Yeah, but I meant like if the
Like,
things happened the way it
yes, they.
did, and then he just
Mhm.
made it through the battle. I think it would have been
Yeah.
really interesting to see their dynamic shift with the knowledge
Hmm.
that
I
she
agree.
now had, because it's shifting with the other marked ones. And so I think it would
Yeah.
have been really interesting to see, like, they already were close. Now you
Hmm.
have this part of my life that's huge, and we could talk about this thing, and like you're helping us. Wow, like I think it would have been really fun to see that dynamic. But I am happy that he died.
I agree. I
It
agree. I
sounds really
agree.
morbid, but it's, I don't know, the impact.
No, I
Like,
agree
you
with
still
you.
think about him, and like now,
Hmm.
like whenever he's brought up in like these slight little moments, it's like, oh,
Hmm.
oh, like in our notes, Kaylee wrote in bold, all
Sad.
caps, sad.
Sad. Because it is Liam is somebody in Violet's life that really helped her train, shaped who she is. And then not only that is her death act really did change her in a
Yeah.
different way. And we get to see how his death really shifted her.
Hmm. And we
Not
see it
only
more as
through the
like
way that she trains, we saw him, in the
torture
torture
scenes.
setting. Thank you. I
Yeah.
was like that.
The yeah.
Like that
Yeah, yeah,
setting.
yeah.
So like made he really made such an impression on her, and it was such a
Hmm.
big part of it.
And none of like, I feel like his death really kickstarted her character growth,
Mhm. I would
because
agree.
like now her goal is she wants to save everybody, and she needs to learn, like, one, Liam kind of taught her she can, but now it's even worse. I feel like it's the, I already lost one friend, I'm not losing anybody else, I can't do that again. And now it's like gotten so much worse where everybody's like, she's holding on so tight, whereas like she needs to
Mhm.
learn, like, hey, like, you can't do everything, it's okay to rely on people, you don't need to lie to
Exactly.
people.
Yeah. And but
She
it's
lied,
it's
but
always a hard lesson to learn
it
for
is.
anybody. And so it, it makes sense why it's such a hard lesson for her to learn.
Hmm. But we do miss Liam, and Liam was fun.
We do miss
I do
Liam.
like
Liam was very fun.
he was, and I do love how Rebecca Yarros does still sprinkle in like the little, like,
Hmm.
look at
Like the
grief,
callbacks are
the
really
callbacks.
nice.
Like, oh, I know that we don't have it anymore because it's been a long time, but when she was like, oh, like, I miss the little wood pieces from him carving his wood all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the little tiny, like, because that's how grief is. Like, it's obviously there are these big emotions of
Yeah,
grief,
grief is never linear.
but it's never linear. And so like there'll be times where it's like you see like little wood carvings and or like little wood pieces, and it's like, oh, like that was Liam. Like that's what he used to do. You know what I mean? So it's like
Hmm.
little things like that where it's like that's what it'll get you more, because it's the little things that tend
Hmm.
to kind of hit you like a truck sometimes.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Um, it is also nice to see that Sloane's idea of Violet has changed.
Hmm.
Where, before at the beginning of the book, it was a lot of animosity, a lot of like, I hate you, like, I loathe you. Like, you are the reason my brother died,
Yeah.
and I'll never forgive you for that. And now we're at a different part in the book where obviously Sloane has grown, Sloane has bonded a dragon, and now we're at the point where she's understanding what's actually going on, because
Yeah.
Liam, wrote it down for her, which is also
Good on you,
really,
Liam.
really, yeah, which is a great thing. But this very like touching, heartfelt moment is interrupted because they end up triggering a griffin trap, and then this giant boulder is just rolling at them, and Violet is sitting there almost stunned,
Yeah, she's like,
being
I could do
like,
lesser magic, that's fine. And then
yeah,
she can't, and Taryn comes and like smashes it
mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
comes in and crushes the the boulder. And Marin just kind of is like, oh, when you guys cross the parapet, is this normal? Like, you know,
Yeah.
is this normal? Um,
And, so then after they kind of talk about that, she kind of shifts it into like how the Flyers go through, in quotes, like bad guys, like they have their own school.
yeah, how the
They're like,
Flyers go through their quote unquote threshing or their choosing of griffins.
yeah. And what they do is they go to like the top of a cliff and they jump off. And if they like land on a griffin and like it works out, like that's your griffin. But if it like or not, you're just gonna fall into the water below and you'll just crawl to shore and go choose a different like line of work, like healing or infantry or
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
but
Violet's like, you don't die?
yeah, I love how everybody's like, wait, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, pause. You just swim to shore? What does that mean? Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I need to take a moment. What do you mean you just swim to shore?
Yep. And then,
um,
I do love how her comeback was kind of like, don't look at me like we're the weird ones. You're the ones killing cadets on conscription day.
yeah, like that's not weird that we survive, okay? It's weird that you're killing so many people.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean, I absolutely agree with. It is weird that they kill so many people just to be a part of this.
So many people. Like if you really think back to how many people there were in in the first book. I mean, they lost what, 70 over the parapet on the first day?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. And, they're kind of just walking and they all feel like this like I almost said like gravitational pull, but like a magic gravitational pull thingy.
Yeah,
And
they feel a shift within the magic
thank you, Kaylee,
around
that was
them.
worded. And, Violet asked like, what was that? Like to Taryn, like, oh, and she was like,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, a hatchling chose to like emerge, and this
Yeah.
choice is what transformed the valley back into a hatching ground, and it changes the magic for every channeling creature within a 4-hour flying radius.
Yeah. Which is really interesting to think about that. First of all, that dragons choose when they're born. Like that dragons don't
Yeah.
have like a set incubation time. They just choose to come out when they come out.
They're like,
Um
I'm ready. I'm ready to stretch my legs. Well, let's get
yeah,
out now.
as well as it's really interesting that one dragon's quote unquote choice, but like that if one dragon hatches, it changes everything. Like it
Mhm.
changes like the magical field, quote unquote, the magical field around everybody, and everybody like knows what's going on. So it's
Yeah, I
quite
do find it
interesting
very
that it draws so
interesting.
much power.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if it, like, specifically because now they're back at their original hatching ground, kind of. I know that there's, like, 1,000 hatching
Hmm.
grounds, but, like, one of their original hatching grounds, I'm curious if, uh, like, that's why it was such a big thing.
Mm,
But I think it might have
possibly.
happened anywhere. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that either. Um, they're almost at the top now of like they're almost done with their trek, and honestly, Violet is thinking in her head as she's also suffering from altitude sickness, almost like she's really struggle busing up this
Hmm.
mountain, and she's like short of breath. She's like feeling like achy. Her knees are swelling. Like she's like, I just really cannot do this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And she like in her head was like, no wonder Tyrandor never suffered an attack, because either the troops that came over this pass would be absolutely and utterly too exhausted to attack anybody, or they would all be fucking dead.
Yeah,
Like
like,
there's no way, like if ands or buts about it, like everybody would just be too tired to do it.
hmm.
um and they were like, yeah, this is one of the biggest reasons why they've never suffered an attack from this side of the mountain.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be exhausting, and it just sounds Like it sounds exhausting walking up
Yeah,
that
and
hill.
then
Oh god. And they're
she's
not
also like,
stopping for breaks really either.
Yeah, and she's looking around, like, not only at, like, the other riders, but the flyers and the griffins as well. And she can tell that a lot of these, like, the griffins are struggling. They're panting, their heads are hanging real low, they're dragging their feet now, their tails are, like, not flicking as high up as they were before.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you can see, like, a palpable shift in everybody's energy, which is so telling about how strenuous this journey and trek really is.
Yeah. I agree with that. I have to scroll
But
in my notes again.
Violet is attempting to, uh, they're going through this path, and they see, because of the boulder, there is, like, now a large chasm
Yeah.
in the path. And so they have to cross it, and Violet is like, oh man, like, obviously Violet is too short to jump it, but it's very similar to the gauntlet. And she was like, oh, if we could, lodge, like, a sword into the mountain, I can do it the same way. Because Riddick makes kind of like this joke, like, of like, oh, don't worry, Violet, I'll carry you over.
I
And
love
Violet
Riddick.
was like hell, you're gonna fucking carry me over. And Llewellyn, who is a Griffin rider, also is, like, even smaller than
Violet.
yes, is even smaller than Violet, and just is also going to struggle jumping that. She kind of
And
leans to
also,
Mary.
a thing to note as well is Griffins start their school a year later than Riders. So,
Yes.
like, Llewellyn is Violet's age, but she's a year behind her.
Absolutely. It's also just, like, interesting to see that, as well as, like, Violet's always like, I'm always going to be the smallest, like, I shouldn't, blah blah blah. But it's cool to see that there is, like, smaller Griffin riders and things like that. Like, it's not just all, like, one type of build for a person, if that makes sense.
I know, I do like that. And it's also like, hey, Violet, like, look how far you've come as well. Like, this was you last year, and that's okay. She's growing too,
Exactly. But the fact that, Violet was able to, like, give that helping hand, and Riddick is the best climber, so he climbs out.
I literally just imagine him like a little spider, like.
Yeah. But before he does that, actually, they have, like, this little, Violet is trying to find the perfect dagger, and is kind of like, oh, who has, the best type of sword for this. And
Dane's like, I do.
Yeah, they decided on Dane's. And she was like, oh, how long is the blade? Is it 8 inches? And he's like, no, it's actually 7. Actually, it's 7.
Actually, it's 7 inches.
7 inches.
Yeah.
And I love Mirren's quote, because her comeback was like, wow, I've never seen a man correct a woman about length before. Like,
so good.
I've never seen a man reduce his, like, a woman's estimate before. That's actually the quote. I've never seen a man reduce a woman's estimate before, which is so interesting because it's so true.
It's so true.
When a woman's like, oh yeah, it's definitely 8 inches, he's like, actually it's 9.
Yeah, like, it's always it's up, not down.
And you're like, I'm so sorry. This is probably, no, we're not doing, like, like, just no, like,
yep.
I love the confidence, like, yeah. So it's just so funny that was, like, what she said during that time, because they are comparing lengths of swords. So
oh my gosh. And Violet starts praying to the god. She prays to Dune, and then she does say, like, clearly, I'm praying to the wrong god, which I forget what Dune is the god of.
I am not quite for sure. I'm going to be honest. I do not know. But she doesn't say that quite yet. She is praying to Dune, and her and Taryn have, like, this little thing, because Taryn's like, ugh, gross.
War and
And
strength.
Violet is, one of those people who's like, I understand that dragons don't recognize human gods. So, because every single time Violet prays, Taryn goes, "Ugh," basically.
I know,
Like,
every time.
he's just like, ugh, that's so gross. Ew. Like,
And she's like, I know you
it's
don't.
pointless.
I know dragons don't pay no like
Yeah,
attention
homage
to
or,
human god or
yeah.
yeah to human gods, and he is like, well, yeah, because, and she's like, I don't want to hear it right now.
Yeah, just, I'm sorry. We're not going to go into this debate. But you said that Dune was the god of
Goddess
war and,
war and strength.
oh, she's the goddess of war and strength.
Yep.
She, Riddick lodges the dagger in the middle of the
The wall.
the wall. I was like,
And
yeah, the rock
yeah,
face, yeah.
and so then they have to jump like, what is it, like 12 inches? That's, you could jump
That's
over
a
it anyway.
foot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but they
They can't touch it at all, so you can't risk touching it. And
yeah,
so
because
they
you have
like
to
put a rope
jump
down.
further.
Yeah, you have to jump further than the rope. And so they put the dagger there, and Violet goes first. She's like, here, I'll go first, like, let me show you how to do it. And
Hmm.
so then she jumps, grabs the dagger, uses her momentum to swing, and she lands on the other side, which is also
Hmm.
what Riddick did to test the weight of
Yes,
like
because
him.
Riddick tests the weight first
And
because he's
you could
obviously
just
going to be
tell
heavier.
Violet's like, okay, this is scary, please don't
Yeah,
fall.
yeah. He makes it across safely. Violet does the jump, makes it across safely. Um, the
Llewellyn tries to go, and she's like really nervous, and Brennan and Dane are like yelling at her, like, if, or Brennan is, or sorry, Dane is. Dane is like, no, like, you need to go now. Like, there's no more time. Like, go now because like we gotta go. People are tired. We
yeah.
need to keep moving. And
Well, not only that is like the rock face is crumbling. Like
that too.
this isn't like a, oh, like we need to go, people are so tired. It's like the path is crumbling, the chasm is getting wider, we need to move, there's more traps being set off, like we gotta go.
Yeah.
um so she does go, but
She doesn't quite make it. And she starts slipping off the cliff. And Violet like reaches out to grab them, and her shoulder dislocates. And so she's like,
mhm.
and she obviously that hurts a lot. And so she's like, I can't, like, because Llewellyn is like, pull me up, and she's like, I can't. She's like, somebody like come help me. Like, I can't. And so then the Griffin does end up being able to come back up, but Llewellyn does, you know, is hanging there. And we look behind, and like Riddick's kind of stumbling backwards, and he's like, Violet, and then like he was stabbed with 2 arrows from like one of the traps. And Violet starts screaming for Brennan because Brennan can mend Riddick, and like help Llewellyn if she gets hurt or something. And that is where chapter 20, nope, 30, nope, 43 ends.
Yes, good job.
Thank you. And so going right into chapter 44, it starts with Llewellyn falling. And
Yes.
Llewellyn falls, and Violet's kind of like stuck because she can't really push herself up because her shoulder's like out of place. And, she falls, and Taryn kind of is like something, and he's kind of been saying it a little bit throughout last chapter too, but he's like, something just feels wrong. Something's off. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but something is wrong. And Kat sees that, Llewellyn fell, and Kat comes like running over and is like, you dropped her, you pushed her, like, this is your fault, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna kill you. And, Riddick and Dane kind of like stand there like, you're not getting any closer to her. And Dane does say like, I don't care if you take one more step, I will kill you, because I don't care about who your father is, unlike Xaden does.
Yeah, which is, obviously jeopardizing like the whole mission for Violet, but you know, Xaden would probably do the same thing in certain terms.
Yep.
So
I mean, he tried to kill her, the Viscount Takara, so I mean,
yeah.
like, he would immediately kill Cat.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like it's interesting to see that, like, you know, Dane is still just as protective as he ever was of Violet. But not only that is, yeah, Dane does step up and say that, but I think the biggest intervention that, you know, should be mentioned is that Marin stops Kat and says, "No, I saw it. Like, I saw it. She did not drop them. You know, she tried her hardest. Just nobody could get through that. And because she came short, the trap went off. Riddick got shot. There was like so many other variables that were happening. You know, the cliff face was crumbling. There was this, there was that. Like, there were so many other circumstances that were happening around her that, you know, was like she didn't drop her. And, you know, Marin is there like trying to de-escalate that situation as much as possible. And as all of this is going on, like all of the kerfuffle with like the humans like happening, we're turning around and we're literally watching Llewellyn's Griffin die. Just very similar to the way that we watched, like, you know, Day and Liam die together. You know, the
once
Griffins,
Day died, Liam died.
The Griffin writers and the like and the Flyers' lives are intertwined. So if one dies, the other dies. And so like we're also like watching like this death happen, and we're watching, you know, Kat and Marin, you know, surround, you know, this Griffin, and as they're,
and all the other Griffins kind of around are also like,
like everybody's like gathering and like starting to mourn and things like that. And then just all of a sudden, like without warning, a wyvern comes up from the cloud cover and just pulls the Griffin off, and, you know, like finishes the Griffin off, for lack of better terms, and is now like attacking them. So now they're under, not only were they under attack by like all of the traps and things like that, but now there's a wyvern involved. And so everybody just like hops into obviously battle mode, because what else are they going to do? And
they Violet does tell Dane, like, you need to put my shoulder back because Brennan needs to mend Riddick, because Riddick got shot. So like, she was like, I need Brennan to focus on Riddick. You've put my shoulder back in place multiple times. Like, you know it. And he's like, are you sure? Like, and she's like, just do it, man. He's like, oh, like when you were 14 and 17. She's like, just do it.
Yeah, it's interesting to like see them reminisce almost about like, you know, Violet always being like so like broken and stuff. And
it's interesting because like we haven't seen much of Dane this book, because obviously Violet's mad at him and this book is from her POV. And so like, and obviously they're not friends much anymore, obviously, because he literally stole her memories. But they're not, but it's fun to see them back in like their dynamic like that. I think it's a very fun dynamic to see. And I do like how it's kind of kick-starting. Like, this is kind of the beginning little sprinkles of like his character arc, I feel like.
Yeah. You Dane lover. Anyway, besides the fact that Ashley's favorite character got reintroduced,
obviously,
I also
fun to
just
see their dynamic.
Yeah, it is,
and
it
how
is
it
fun
has
to see
shifted,
and to see how it has shifted and things like that. But I love it because she's like, okay, like, Taryn, like, let's go. We're gonna like hop on and go. And he's like, wait, you're injured. And she's like, and you're a memory reader. And he like kind of sits there stunned. And she was like, I thought we were just saying things that were like,
I thought
normal
we were
facts.
saying obvious things. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I thought we were just like saying the obvious thing. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you could actually help in this scenario because you're actually worthless.
Literally.
Like, the way that she says that, she's like, yeah, like, you literally can do nothing. What are you saying that I need to stay back? And he does kind of ask her like, oh, would Xaden let you go, like, fly into battle injured, not knowing how many wyvern are there and not knowing if there's any venom close by. And she looks at him and was like, yeah, he would. And that's why I love him.
Wait, Kaylee, do you think that he would let her go?
I think he would let her go with conditions.
Okay.
Because, like, here's the thing is, like, yeah, Dane is useless in this scenario and is not going to go and fly out to battle with her.
Mm-mm.
Where Xaden would not be that useless. So Xaden would just, like, she'd be like, let's go. And he'd be like, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So, here's the thing is, like, it's the not that Xaden wouldn't, like, Xaden would let her go because he's going with her. Or Xaden would let her go so that he can, like, do something else that would help her not have to fight so many. Does that make sense? Like,
yes. Like, there would be
so many.
Would go with her.
Yeah, and even if Xaden doesn't go with her, we know that Xaden is never too far to cast his shadows to her. Does that make sense? Xaden, it's very rare. Like, the only time, like, we really see it is in the first book when Liam dies, that he was just too far away from them.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the only battle that we really see him be too far away to reach her. So in this instant, I don't think that he would be too far away to reach her. That's the thing.
And I think that
so, like,
because he can, like, if she falls, he has the shadows and stuff. I think that he would. But if, let's say, he was in Dane's position where he couldn't do that, I think he would have a lot more issues allowing her to do it.
Yes, I would agree. But, you know, she does go, which is a good call because, you know, she has one of the, you know, she has one of the most powerful signets that can defeat not only wyvern but also venom.
And she does ask Brennan and stuff. They're like, she's like, we need to clear out all the fog and we need to clear this. Like, I know that there's a storm wielder or whatever up front. And he's like, they're not as strong as Mom, man. Like, we're not going to be able to do that. And she's like, okay, fine. Let's keep it centralized. So they don't see where we are. So that's an advantage for us. But also, obviously, the disadvantage is they didn't know where the wyvern were. They just knew that because now they're above the clouds. And Taryn's like doing all of these maneuvers that she's like, wow, this is a lot. Not many people could sit this, and I might pass out, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like she does, like, openly acknowledge, kind of, without this saddle.
Yeah.
Like a normal rider would not be able to sit this because they don't have a saddle, if that makes sense. Like, because they're not strapped in. And so, like, it is one of those things where, like, yes, she is extremely, like, disoriented as this is happening. But she also, like, kind of does acknowledge that the saddle is right now a really good tool for her.
Yeah. And she, you know, they're now, like, above the clouds, like I said. And I know that we wanted to talk about this because it's a little confusing. But she was like, for the first time ever, I channeled downwards and, like, to kill the wyvern below. And so she does, and she kills all 4 of them.
Yeah. she does end up being able to do that and to kill all 4 of them. And it was really interesting because Taryn does ask in the right before, like, they're about to, like, try this, he's like, oh, are you going to use the conduit? And she's like, no, I'm not going to use the conduit, because she was like, you know, the whole point of the idea was that the wyvern acted like the conduit, so she could just throw her magic out there and the magic would go towards them.
Yeah.
Like it does towards the conduit. And that's kind of what the theory was, and the theory did work.
It did.
You know, she was able to do that, and it's so interesting the way that it's phrased. We're going to get back into it because I am like, what do you mean by you channeled your power downward? Because...
Yeah. I know, I'm trying to find the quote in the book, but I did find... I know, I remember talking about it when we were first reading the book, and I just want to bring it up again, because I do like how it's worded. when, she's trying to tell everybody, "Get up the cliff, get out of here, because no one,
Hmm.
like, we don't need to die." And, she's like, "Take Sloane," and she's like, "I had to hold Liam while he died. His dragon was already eviscerated by the wyvern. I will not watch a sister suffer the same fate. Get up the fucking cliff." Because she's like, "I'll help," and she's like, "Leave."
Well, I mean, yes, but also like so valid of Sloane to be like, no, I
Oh, yes.
can help now.
Immediately,
Like
yes. I
I
agree with
am strong
that.
enough.
100%
I
agree.
can help.
But I
I
do
can do this.
like how that happened. And again, I know we say it every time. The narrator really did a great job.
Yeah, the narrator does like a fantastic job narrating like these like very tense sections.
And she does speed up, which makes it feel even more tense. Because,
Mhm.
like, you could tell it's like, instead of talking at like the normal, like, slower pace, she does like starts. And it's not like an all of a sudden quick. She slowly kind of starts building it, and then it's all of a sudden you're like, whoa, like, this is pretty tense. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. She is able to build suspense by her pacing and the tone of her voice extremely well. It is very, very wonderful to hear. Um, as listening to the audiobook is super fun.
And we do listen to the regular one, not the graphic audio, which part of
Yeah,
me
the
wants to listen to the
unabridged
graphic
audio.
audio for fun, but I like listening to the unabridged ones because it's not abridged.
Well, yeah, I think that you should. I mean, you can definitely go back and listen to the graphic one if you would like. I just think that the unabridged audio is always beneficial for the first time around because you really get to hear and to see like what
And especially
the
with
author
such a
intended.
great narrator as well.
Yeah.
Like, the narrator really is doing such a phenomenal job. And so, like, even with a single narrator, you're still getting different voices. You're still getting, like, all these things because that's what they do. I'm still trying to find this quote.
Um. So as Ashley is doing that, you know, we get to see that, but we also get to see, like the strategy side of a lot of it where, it's the what are we going to do? Because they wanted to dissipate all of the clouds first. And then they realized that that wasn't working in their advantage, and they were like, okay, well, let's just like centralize it because it's obviously too much for that wielder. So let's scale it down so that we can actually work with like the talents and the skills and the signets and the power that we have currently. Which was really fun to see the tactician side of everybody come out. And not only that, is just, the way that Taryn is able to move and adjust and things like that. So they do end up going back down and like checking to make sure that the wyvern are dead after they end up doing that. But okay, she found the quote about the channeling downwards. I'd love to hear it. Great.
Great. Okay. We break through the clouds, and I throw my arms wide, pushing past the pain and screaming with it, all in the same breath, setting the molten energy within me free, and for the first time in my life, I force the power downward. And downward is italicized, by the way.
It's one of those things where it's like that to me, I'm sorry, is super confusing. Because she's standing on the ground and she says that she's pulling lightning. Like when she's like in that class, she's like pulling lightning like towards her.
So what I think is
great. I'd love to hear what you think.
I'm so glad. So typically when she's pulling lightning, it's above her, the sky wielding, because it's above her. So she's pulling it from above down, whereas this was like she's forcing the energy from instead of coming from above her down, it's like all like only down. So she has to like think down and push it even further down.
I guess, but also like when you're pulling something from above you, is this action not the action of pulling it downwards towards you?
Well, yes, but it's still starting from above her. Whereas this is starting from below her.
I guess. Sure.
I also don't 100% understand, but
Right.
above below. Because it's like, what, 20 feet below her, trying to push this lightning out below her?
Yeah.
Or instead of like pulling it towards her, it's pushing it down instead of pulling it towards her.
Okay. Sure.
So it's a difference instead of, it's a push and pull instead of like pull, push. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
You still seem
It's just
confused.
like,
Don't worry, I am also confused.
it's just like one of those things where I'm like, it's just still, when you say downwards, what do you mean by that? Because I'm confused, because Violet openly says, oh yeah, I pull from the sky. Like, I'm pulling like from objects around me. I'm pulling it towards me. I'm pulling it like downwards to the ground. So like, that's why I'm like, what do you mean by this? For the first time ever, I'm channeling downwards. Like, you bitch, you do it all the time. Like, am I just that dumb? Like, because literally the action of this, you're pushing it down, you're pulling it down. It's okay. It's okay.
It is confusing. Don't worry. It is confusing. And I hope that it comes back at some point so we can maybe understand it a bit more. It's okay, Kaylee. We'll understand it at some point, hopefully.
I mean,
It's
if she
okay.
said it differently, like, I'm gathering the energy from beneath me and pushing it down, then maybe. But like, it's just weird how she said it.
Yeah.
Like, why is that the only thing that you said? You just said that?
Yeah, it's odd. It is very odd.
It's okay.
And, so they're, flying. So they do kill the wyvern. And then, like, Taryn and them are flying around. And she notices that there are a lot of, like, griffins that are, like, passed out, laying down because of the altitude. Like, all the riders are standing, but, like, the flyers and griffins are kind of struggling a little bit.
And then,
I mean,
like,
everybody's
some of the
struggling,
griffins,
but...
some of the griffins are, like, already, like, loaded onto, like, carts to basically, like, wheel them the rest of the way.
Yeah. And, so Taryn's going down and he's going to land. And she's like, Taryn, and he lands. And she's like, you could have crushed somebody. And he was like, could have, but alas, they moved.
I think it's so funny that Taryn is that way. Taryn is like, whatever.
Yeah, it's okay.
They moved, so it's okay. Like, he was like, it's okay. They fucking moved, so
yeah,
didn't get crushed anyway.
And she was kind of talking about, because someone was like, well, how did you know that would work? How did you know that would kill him? And I know, you, Kaylee, have already talked about it. She's like, oh, like, I learned from, like, the magic force field thing, energy field. And like that, it kind of, because like, it finds, it's lightning. Lightning already finds objects, if you think about it. Like, in real life, like, finds the tallest object. So when she uses it, it's probably trying to find objects like that. And wyvern were the closest things.
Yeah, she also used the same type of theory that she was taught to channel her magic into the conduit.
Yep.
Because that's technically, like, what's going on. When she did that, she gathered the magic and forced it out to, like, put it in something else, which, is the same type of thing. Yeah, which is the same type of thing that she does with the conduit, because the conduit also has that, like, quote unquote, like, magical magnetic field that, like, draws the magic in as well. And so, she used the same theory.
And she's, like, really proud of herself, because that was a big thing. Like, she's never channeled herself
done
downward.
that before.
She's never done that. And she is like, wow, like, I really did it. And, like, I can't believe I'm smart enough to figure that out, kind of type of thing. And Taryn just looks at her and is like, you want to be congratulated, but this is nothing new. I chose you for that. And then he starts going on, is like, I am Taryn, descended of. And she's like, stop it. I don't need to hear it. It's okay.
Yeah. And it's so funny because it says that, like, she cuts him off before he makes her recite like, his whole lineage. And so it's just so funny to be like, he does this quite often, where she recites
He's very
the
prideful.
entire lineage.
Very prideful, but dragons are very prideful creatures. And Brennan comes over and is like, you're dumb. Like, why would you? Well, like, I'm proud of you, but also I do also like how she's like, because they got the other journal of Llewellyn, not Llewellyn, but someone else starts with an L. and they got the other journal, and she
Warwick and
right.
I wanted to color Lilith, but that's her
I know.
mom.
I can't. I think it's an L. It has to. We're both going L names. Mm. Takaris.
What? It's not Takaris.
That's what Takaris's books say. The book that you haven't let me read in 4 days.
Yes, because that's right. Because he offered books.
Yeah.
As well, in like an exchange of knowledge. Yeah.
And so then, I do love how Brennan. She's like, I want to read the book. Huh?
Lyra.
You're right. Good job.
Sorry,
and you're like, I need to know what it is. Yeah.
So it's actually not Lyra's journal that they're referring to. Yeah.
No,
so just to clear that up, it's not the journals that they stole earlier. It is a book that was like acquired after the deal with Takaris.
And they're talking about how Wyvern and Venom kind of share the same minds. Whatever a Wyvern sees, the Venom sees as well. And he's kind of saying, I figured that out with the book from Takaris. And Violet's like, the book you're not letting me read, and you've had it for 4 days. And I do like how he tells her it's only been 3 days, and there are some things that are above you, cadet. Like above, like you don't have this privilege,
Yeah, like you don't have the clearance to do this yet. Which is interesting.
And he also does say it's like, because we haven't even, especially because we haven't finished analyzing. We haven't finished. That's not right.
Analyzing.
And one more time.
Analyzing.
Analyzing it.
Yes.
Good job. Thank you. My brain stopped. And I do, and she does snap back. I know about it because I read the book my father gave me, and you could see Brennan just flinch, and I'm like, but because also, sir, you left.
Yeah, but she brings it up. She's like, and him changing his name wasn't only him distancing himself from our mother, but it was distancing himself from our father as well. Which, they obviously hold in an extremely high regard.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to hear and see that, because one of Brennan's big things was he was like, oh well, Dad would have supported me leaving. Dad would have supported me leaving and things like that. And so for her to say my father like that really just shows how much he did distance himself from both, which is why I'm sure that it was hard to hear that he's flinching because of that.
Oh, for sure. And it's also I don't think Brennan fully understands the repercussions of his choice for leaving like that, and he thinks everything is kind of fine and dandy, but his father died because of that. His father and he really distanced himself so much where that's why Mira and Violet are so much closer. Obviously, because they spent an extra 6 years together, but they don't have that, always in the back of their mind when they're hanging out. It's, he left. This isn't the man. This isn't my brother really anymore. And,
there's
so
a lot of distance there.
For sure. And no matter how much you try to, clear that distance, there's always going to be a little bit. Because he, it's something, they all get along and everything like that, but it's something that you'll never fully be it's totally fine that you did that. I completely understand. Where it's, no, you left us. You are the reason our father's heart gave out. Oh my gosh. You were the reason for this. And so that'll always have that distance, no matter how much you try to fix it.
Yeah.
That's something just no one can fully get over that. And, so it ends with them kind of concluding oh, you better bet that they know what we're doing, and now they're for sure going to be coming for us now.
And welcome back to our spoiler section. So we did end that chapter, and now we are welcoming everybody to the spoiler section. Welcome everybody. If you're joining us, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys are leaving for the spoiler section, not a problem. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Farewell. We wish you a wonderful rest
We
of
wish
your
you
day
adieu.
or night. We wish you adieu. If you are joining us, once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys know, we're going to start with our beginning excerpts, which Ashley has so delightedly already pulled up and is
I
ready to
did.
go.
Look at me.
Wow, so good.
Thank you. Okay, so the first one, which would be for chapter 43, is from the dangerous waves of the Arctical Ocean to the lowest plains of the Tirandor Plateau, the cliffs of Draylor rise to over 12,000 feet in places, making them unflyable by griffin. While there are 3 well-carved paths within Navarre to ascend the plateau, along with the Crovolian border exists only one, and it is deadly both to griffin and flyer. Do not attempt under any circumstance. Chapter 2, The Technical Guide to Defeating Dragons by Colonel Elijah Jobin. Which is interesting because this is a flyer book, not a we've only heard from
Yep.
Navarre and Tirandor.
Yeah, so I was gonna also point that out, that it's so interesting that now we are finally seeing like the first beginning excerpt be from a flyer's guidebook or like a flyer's like study guide. And it's also interesting to note that, you know, this path is incredibly like treacherous. They have books about how you should probably not attempt this. And then now they're going to go and try to, you know, dismantle all these traps and make this walkable for everybody, which is such an interesting thing to hear.
Yeah, and like it's also interesting that he stood on the crossbolts. I didn't even so that's how he Reddit got shot. Isn't it? Brennan stood on a pile of crossbolts in the very beginning.
Yeah, but yes. But
so maybe that's some of the traps. Like those are just old ones.
Yes.
Got it. I realized that as I was reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh. That's how I caught up. It's okay.
Yeah, but Brennan didn't shoot crossbolts
No.
Riddick. You understand that?
Yeah, I
okay, great.
That. Yeah,
because the way that you said it was like, oh, that's when he got shot, was when Brennan was standing on the crossbolts.
No. But
that
it's
not
old crossbolts, and then there's some crossbolts in the traps.
Yeah.
But I was like, because me and you were wondering how he got shot. We were like, how did this happen? Because it was just like so.
Oh yeah.
Out of the blue.
Because it was so sudden, and I didn't know if it was from like a venom on a wyvern or if it was because Llewellyn didn't jump far enough and really did set off that trap.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing it's that. So yeah, I was just like, oh, it's old crossbows. I made the connection. Anyway, so going into chapter 44. I'm so glad
that you did that.
Going into chapter 44, the beginning excerpt is, when a griffin bonds, it does so for life. Guard your life as you would your griffins, for they are forever intertwined. Chapter 1, the canon of the flyer.
Yeah, which, you know, is very similar to dragons. But we do know that some dragons can survive the death of a rider.
Yeah, and like Tyrion has.
But we also know that riders cannot survive the death of a dragon.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting thing to think about, that, oh, how interesting that dragons can disconnect from their humans, where like griffins can't. Because we see Llewellyn die, and then we see Sibylline?
Oh.
Sibyllaire. Yes, Sibyllaire.
You guys, we spent 5 minutes trying to figure, because we listened to the audiobooks. I did. We listened to the audiobooks. If we were reading these books without like
somebody else like saying what these names are, I would never be able to read them.
Literally, the biggest example is we read Throne of Glass, which will be a series. Just wait for that. It'll be very interesting. That's my promo for that eventually. I don't know when, but it'll eventually happen. Anyway, so we were reading that, and I had it on my Kindle. I also listened to the audiobooks, but I had it on my Kindle, and I was reading it. Every time I saw Kale on it, I kept going, charcoal? And I'm like, no, Ashley, it's Kale. And I was just like, no, it's coal. or charcoal. Like it wouldn't stick in my brain.
Yeah.
And so like I was trying to find these quotes for today's episode, and I kept seeing like I already forgot the name, Civil Air.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kibble liar? Like what? How do you say, like I just could not, and I had to look it up. And then we eventually just started playing the audiobook until it said the name because we were like, we're gonna say it wrong. It's gonna
Hmm.
happen. But it's Civil Air.
Yes, it is Sibyl. And we're watching, Sibyl die
Hmm.
as like we know that like Llewellyn died. Very like, kind of like I mentioned earlier, similar to the way that we watched Liam die in the
Hmm.
terms of there's nothing physically wrong.
Yeah.
You're just dying, you know,
Yeah.
because like that connection was severed because like you don't have that. And so it was really interesting to like see that parallel of
Hmm.
this magical creature that yes, dragons often refer to them as
Inferior.
inferior, but have such a strong bond and connection like with their person, very similar to dragons,
Yeah.
also die was just so interesting to
Hmm.
he to see,
Yeah. And it is interesting because like we know that Taryn has survived a rider death, and like
Hmm.
I guarantee you, there's been hundreds of dragons that survived or
Quotes like in quotes, we don't actually know if that man is dead.
we
We're gonna
don't. We
be
haven't
honest
seen the
about it.
body because Taryn refuses to talk about it. He's like,
Hmm.
we don't talk about the one that came before. Like it is such a
Yeah,
big thing for him. And could it be grief? Maybe. But is there
for sure.
something else that he's hiding about him? Is he
Also could
bonded
be
to two
true.
people? Ooh,
Ooh.
he like, but also I don't know how he would do that because he'd have to be away and they can't be too far apart. But is
Yeah.
he bonded to two people?
I don't
Something
know.
to think about.
Maybe that's why he's actually asleep at the end of the battle in Onyx is because um not the
Haley's
fact
so
that
passionate about this.
Violet's bond was broken with Taryn, but like maybe because the Venin Naolan dude broke their bond. Or maybe
Mm,
because, and Darna broke that bond for
mm,
for him.
yeah.
So,
Violet, or it's not Violet. Kaylee is very passionate about that end chapter and how people are
Taryn is not
interpreting.
fucking dead. I'm so sorry. I don't care because no. I refuse. I refuse to believe that the only reason why he's sleeping is because like he's so injured he can't wake up. No. Bitches, please. This no. I refuse. Because here's also the other reason why I fucking refuse. Because if we are lovers to enemies, if Taryn dies right now, we don't get fucking lovers to enemies, okay? We don't get that plot line. And I refuse to believe that is not the plot line that we live in. I don't care. That dragon is not fucking dying. Okay? I think that like, yeah, sure, he could be asleep because Indarna broke the mating bond between him and Sigale, which is why Sigale can go off with Xaden, because
It
we
makes
also know
sense.
that the
Haley's going
Venom
insane.
want. Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I am very passionate about this because I refuse to believe that Taryn is dead by the end of this book. Like by the end of Onyx, no, I
I don't
refuse
think
to
he's
believe.
dead.
I don't think he's dead. I just think that he's never gonna wake up again.
No, I don't
That's
believe
fucking
that.
dead. Like I
just
don't
I
know.
believe by the end of the series he will be dead.
For sure. Yeah, cool. Yeah, by the end of
That's
the
what I
fucking
meant,
series,
not
not by
right
the end of this
now.
book. Like, I refuse to
But I
believe
do
that
want the
Taryn is
lovers
going to
dragon.
be
Oh my
died by
gosh.
the end of Onyx. Because literally, if we are looking for lovers to enemies, you can't do that without Taryn and Sigale. Because we also know that the Venin are collecting dragons. Like, we actually know that now
Mhm.
because the Venin that popped out of the fucking box in this book literally says that. Oh, I can't wait to collect you and your dragon.
Yeah.
Like, we know that they're I'm so sorry. We know that they are looking for them. So Darren can't be dead by the end of Onyx.
But I think the mating bond could be gone.
Yes, the mating bond could be gone,
This
which is
what
why
I've been
he's
saying,
like
and
slumbering.
you were like, no, actually, and I'm like, no, it makes sense. That's why he's tired. Is because
He's
the mating
not
bond was broken.
dead.
That's what happened. I'm not saying he's dead. I'm saying the mating bond is broken because we saw what happened with Andarna and Violet. Violet was really, 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 really tired. So if Andarna shifted the mating bond between Taryn and Sigale, Taryn would be really tired.
Yeah, for sure. But everybody else is like, nah, he's fucking dead. Like so many theories were like, oh, he's in a coma and he's never gonna wake up again.
That'd be so sad. But we need
like
him.
Those were like all
ready.
of the theories.
Violet's
all of the theories that Ashley like shared to me at the end of this book was like, oh yeah, by the way, he's dead. Like he's not waking up again. Like he's not gonna be a part of like the 4th or the 5th book. And I'm like, well, he's fucking dead then. Like there's no point in having him just be in a coma. Like no, that's not the way that life works, and I don't care.
And I do know that in the interview with Rebecca Yarros, she was like, I can't wait for you to realize the reason he's tired, because it's more than him just being tired from the battle.
Yeah. He's not fucking dead, though, bitches. I
don't think he's dead.
Just saying.
Yeah.
He's not dead, and he can't die yet, because literally we need the lovers to enemy pipeline.
We do.
The lovers to enemy pipeline can literally only be fueled from Taryn and Sigale.
Yep. And period. I think it'll be...
That's it.
Now, here's the thing. Do you want a Taryn and Sigale lovers to enemy, or Xaden Violet lovers to enemies more?
No, I want Taryn and Sigale. No, okay, here's the thing. This is why I don't actually think Violet and Xaden are lovers to enemies. Because Romeo and Juliet. We're gonna, like... I constantly make this, like, a lore to that... To Romeo and Juliet, because first of all, one of Shakespeare's greatest tragedies, but we know that it's a tragedy because everybody dies at the end. But also, they get married. Romeo and Juliet, I'm sorry, I just want to like throw it out there now that like there's so many other things that Romeo and Juliet do get married. They get married in secret. Who else got married in fucking secret? Who else? Oh, okay, also...
Kaylee's getting ready, you guys. She's ready to go off.
So, like, they get married in secret. They get married in secret, obviously. Yep. And Rebecca Yarros just confirmed that they actually do get married.
Yep.
That it is confirmed. It's not a ploy. They actually got married. But then not only that, is there was no point in Romeo and Juliet where they actually hated each other. There was frustration. There was a lot of miscommunication. There was a lot of, he doesn't love me, but maybe he does. There was a lot of insecurity. There was a lot of toxicity of, oh, my family's better than your family, or, you know, you can't do this because that's my family. Like that's my best friend. You can't kill Tybalt, which we know is going to happen because Rhea will die. So, absolutely. You know, it's one of those things where like, Xaden is going to kill Xaden is going to kill like Rhea, but Violet is going to be like, oh no, but I still love him, and be a little bitch that she is and gonna take him back, even though she said that was her fucking line. But we all know that Juliet also said that was her fucking line, and then this bitch still married that man and still died for that fucker. So all I am saying is that we can't, that it's non-existent, because there's no point where Violet or Xaden would ever consider each other unlovable and the enemy. And this is where we can see that so I'm so sorry that there was so many things that happened.
Really woke you up.
All I gotta say is there are some times where I really am the dude. She was the Wicked Witch of the East, bro. Like, you can't tell me.
Hold on. She's the Wicked Witch of the East. Not the...
But her sister. Anyway.
I feel like this sums up our podcast really well.
Yes, but this is also why, like, the lovers to enemies pipeline cannot be Violet and Xaden. It can't be. It's just like, if we are, in my mind, the parallels to Romeo and Juliet are very large.
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
Very, very large. It's fine. Which, you know, obviously there's a lot of like, I'm not saying that her ideas aren't original. Number one, when I make this comparison, it's just because it's another work of literature that almost every author in the modern day has drawn from, because Shakespeare was such a first of all, number one, LOL, I'm gonna say it, he was a Renaissance man. um, Sorry, I had to say it like that.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah, he's a Renaissance man, but also, like, not only that, is he was one of the most influential storytellers to ever exist in the entire world. And not only do Western Western and European like pieces of literature draw from Shakespearean ideas and stories, but we can also see that within other like cultures and parts of like the world also do it as well. So that's why I draw so many big parallels to it. Also,
and it's also like I think a point that should be made as well is like
it's very well known too.
Technicalities, nothing is fully original.
Oh, because like always,
like,
yes.
You get influence from shows, books, TV shows, musicals, like anything you watch influence what you're doing, because that's just how human brains work. So like nothing is completely original, but that's not meaning like she's copying Romeo and Juliet.
Absolutely. Like, I'm just saying that the setup is quite similar, and I can draw a lot of parallels. Also, like, I mean, I'm sure that everybody can tell by now, I know a lot of Shakespearean plays, so it really, really well. So that's why I can also be like, oh, this is why this reminds me so much of this. But also the other reason, like, that is like one of like the biggest reasons why Xaden and Violet remind me so much of Romeo and Juliet and not of Hamlet and Ophelia. Their love was not their love is not that. And it's very clear. And so, we can just leave, like, I don't think that the enemies to love, like the lovers to enemy pipeline is them. I think it has to be Taryn and Sigale. And also the other reason is the reason why I do think that it could be Taryn and Sigale also is because we also see in Onyx when he's upset that he didn't know that Xaden had this power. That he didn't know that Xaden had a second signet, which also, not gonna lie, the writing around that was a little choppy. But that's okay. There's a little bit of like plot holes that like we could definitely draw in certain sums of like that writing for that book. Just specifically in terms of like what do you mean Taryn didn't know? Like, that's confusing. How did they hide that so well? Because according to like the world that you already set up, Sigale shouldn't have been able to hide that. But that's okay. Maybe that'll be explained later. But I also just feel like maybe she got confused and was like, oh yeah, they know by now, and it was like, oh wait, actually they don't know, but it's fine. We're not gonna go and revise.
It's okay.
That,
like no one is perfect, and it's plot holes are gonna happen. Exactly. Like, it's inevitable, no matter how many times an editor goes through too. Like,
for sure, people miss things, but it's also like one of those things where like Taryn is openly upset with Sigale about that. Taryn is also openly like, I don't know about the Empyrean constantly. There's like a constant like, ooh, that's actually not right. And you Taryn tell, like, does Sigale sympathize with that. Well, Taryn, I feel like sympathizes a lot more with the humans than Sigale ever does. Like, yes, Sigale loves Xaden. Oh, for sure. Absolutely does. Like, would literally die for that man. But also, at the same time, she doesn't like anybody else but Xaden. So,
literally. And it, I know we've talked about it, and I am excited to get to it in Onyx Storm so we can really dive into it. Xaden loves Sigale, and I absolutely adore that he turned fully Venom for Sigale, not Violet.
Yes, I absolutely agree, because if it was for Violet, I'd just be like, all right, whatever. Same old fucking thing.
Yeah, but it was for Sigale, and we love that. Yeah. Because it was the unexpected. We were all waiting for him to do it with Violet. but it was for Sigil, and I was like, yes, exactly what I needed. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Because I mean, I also agree. I would not I would also turn into a venom for my like animal. Like
Oh,
if somebody
absolutely.
was like about to kill Kaya and I had like the option to save her, yeah,
Absolutely.
sorry, I would do it. Like
Yeah.
I would absolutely do that to protect, you know, my animals, my dragon, like, you know, like that side of me. Because like it's also like one of those things where it's like if you think about it, like how they think of these dragons, it's like they're not pets, they're not like yeah, they are magical creatures, but they are like so much
Equals.
more because they have more of like that like that mental connection and that
Yep.
bond and things
Oh
like
God,
that.
if
So
imagine having a mental connection like that with your dog.
oh my God, I think Kaya would hate it.
I think Eclipse would never shut up.
See, that's the thing, is like that's why I think Kaya would hate it, because she'd be like, okay, can you please stop,
Like,
mother,
Mom, you
please.
talk too much.
Yeah, just like do you think you could shut your brain off for like 5 seconds? Please,
Yeah.
I am sleeping.
I think Eclipse would literally be like, Mom, when are you coming home? Mom, 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 Mom. I'd be like,
Yeah, she's
Eclipse.
like, why are you away? You're like taking so long. Are you coming back soon?
Literally, that would be
Are you
her.
still doing that? She's like, why are you being so slow? Could you hurry up?
No, it's
I'm
been a
here
whole
and
5
I need
minutes.
you.
I
I'm like,
want
ugh,
cuddles.
cuddles now.
Not
This
secondary
mother,
human is here and it's not the same.
mother.
Literally.
Yeah.
But anyway, but
Yeah,
yes, that
sorry.
is our
Sorry.
talk.
Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you for listening to my rant about why there are certain parallels and why I think like the book has to be set up a certain way, but thank you.
I agree. And
Um
based on a new post that Rebecca Yarros posted on Instagram,
mhm.
this book is coming out probably 2027, 2028. There's no way it's
Nice.
coming out next year,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
I'm
I
happy
wouldn't think
about.
so.
Because it's
I didn't
also like
think
she did
so.
say that like
Yeah, she did
Onyx
say
Storm
she was
almost
taking a
put her
break.
in the ground. Like she
Yeah.
was like it killed her. And so
Yeah,
I'm really
but
glad
also
that she
like
took the time.
mhm. Yeah, I'm also really glad that she took the time, but it also makes sense because yeah, she did take that time, but like she just now recently, like the interview thing at Disney was
Yeah.
like the first thing that she's done for this series in like what, almost a year now.
Mhm.
So it makes sense that like, you know, she's now doing all of the press that she did for like uh Iron Flame and stuff for Onyx Storm right now. So it makes sense
Yeah.
that she's still working on the other book because, you
Oh,
know,
for sure.
basically now she's like doing her book tour for Onyx Storm, like
Yeah.
lack
Like
of
she did
better
it when it
terms.
first came out, but she's kind of doing it again. And
Yeah, but like,
it
you know, she's doing it again. She's like revamping like the interest in the book and the fandom, and you know, she's building a very I was like, her marketing team is building a really good
phenomenal job.
strategy to launch the book. You know,
Yes. And I
I
think that it's oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. But I do really love how like yes, she's obviously took a break and like she wrote 3 books. She wrote Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm in 2 years. That's a lot. So judging by
yeah,
like how fast she wrote, these books are great. You know what I mean? Like though for how fast like that's so much. And so obviously like because she wrote so much so quick, there are gonna be a couple plot holes. And it's
for
do
sure.
I think these are masterpiece books? No, I think they're really fun. I have a great time reading them. But like she did a great job for 2 years for
Absolutely. Hmm.
how like many pages. This is a big series and it's her first fantasy series.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very fun. And also I just like I said, I love how in the fandom she is. And
Hmm.
she does avoid like, you know, not spoilers, but theories and stuff because she doesn't want it to influence her. But I do love how
Yes.
she is oh, I love that you love this book. Here's what I think about this part of it. And
Hmm.
like really into her series and like likes promoting it and stuff like that. I appreciate it.
Yes, I agree. I think that it's just fun to see an author interact with their IP and enjoy it, like actually
Yeah.
truly enjoy it, which is nice to see, which sometimes we don't get to see from other authors. But Also, is that everything that we have in our spoiler section?
I think so. We didn't really have much, and we covered what we needed.
Yeah.
And more.
Yes, and more. I also think like maybe something that we might reference later is the downward lightning thing.
Channeling.
I'm gonna go and do more looking up about what that word means to Rebecca Yarros specifically.
Yeah, because it's confusing.
Yeah, I was like, just like, that's just like a point of clarification I want to do for myself. I might bring it up later, so just to let everybody know.
Be ready. Be ready. We'll have a whole other conversation about it.
But thank you guys so much for coming and joining us.
Make sure to hit all the buttons, comment, subscribe,
likes.
downloads, all of the things. We really appreciate it. Thanks for joining our little book club in our little void. And so the last thing we want to say to you is...
What did the void say to you?